I've not been gigging much because I've spent some time in hospital. It's my life, not a fucking pantomime. No, I was in there for something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. I've got a baby. Yeah. See what happens is, right, when you get married, there will be a little old woman in your life who starts asking questions, and those questions will lead you places. Like, my little old lady is called Barb. She lives next door to me, and she's great. We were back from the honeymoon a week. Like, so, how's married life? It's the same, but with jewellery and debt. And when are we going to hear the pitter-patter of little feet? After we get sick of all the free time and disposable income? After the sound of a condom breaking? I don't know. Yeah, it was the next logical step. I just wasn't sure if I was ready to become this unhappy. And you've got to do it for the right reasons, and our marriage doesn't need saving, so... I think I enjoyed that one more than you did. Now, before you know it, you find yourself sharing the house with a chubby little person who cries when they're tired and cries when they're hungry and cries when they need the toilet, and you ask yourself, when is life going to get back to normal? Maybe when she has the baby. It was a 28-hour labour. That is the right noise. It was the hardest 28 hours of my life. They had no Wi-Fi. But everything worked out fine. I tethered to my phone and I got through a whole season of House of Cards. Now, in retrospect, I'm not sure how I feel about watching that much Kevin Spacey before a child enters the world. Especially considering how fond he is of entering Nevermind. I just let that sit there for a bit. No, it was a ventouse delivery, right? So my son was pulled into the world with a suction cup. I waited 2 hours for that registrar. I could have called an emergency plumber. Right? So my mum was itching to meet this little guy, right? She was the first through the door and visiting the next day. And I'm her firstborn. So there's this really beautiful moment when I hand over my firstborn to her, and she looks down, she's like, I don't know if I've ever felt love like this. Mum, I'm stood right here. She's like, isn't he a lovely colour? I was like, yeah, that's the jaundice. But you see, because of the suction cup, he had this perfectly circular bruise around the back of his head. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but a newborn only has so many red blood cells, so they travel wherever they're needed to do the healing, and the rest of him turned yellow. So my son looked like a Jewish minion. And that's my favourite joke. Now, we've had some bother with him. The GP was fobbing us off that it was severe colic, but we knew there was something more to it. Like, there would be blood-curdling crying for 6 hours, and he wouldn't crap for 4 days on the bounce, and then there would be a tidal wave of shit. A punami. An apocalypse, if you will. I was cleaning up one of these explosions, and I never thought there would be a moment where my wife would turn to me and say, don't neglect the balls. So it turns out he's milk protein intolerant. Yeah? My son is a hipster. So from here on out, all of his baby girls are stripy. He won't eat a rusk unless it's fair trade. And we're probably going to have to wean him on mashed avocado or some shit like that. So as a result, we've got him on this completely dairy-free formula, and I realise it's way worse than I thought. He's a fucking vegan. I think he's a vegan. He can't talk yet, so he can't tell me about it all the fucking time. I think vegans are like the new Jehovah's Witnesses, but without doors in the way.